Uh, all right. So welcome to my first webinar. Actually, Barbara was the one who told me that I had to get on social media to build this business with Brazilians. Barbara is a social marketing person. That's her job, and she's the one who started me down this path. So thank you, Barbara.
No problem.
Remember when you said I had to make videos, and I went, "Are you kidding? I'm
No
not
way!
making videos." And now I've done over 500 videos.
You would not believe her face. Like, no, I will not
I'm
be
not doing
doing videos.
videos.
I'm not doing it. And you
Yeah,
should send me 300 videos to record one thing. What do you think? Is it good?
yeah, yeah. It was pretty
Now
fun.
you're so good and natural. I
You
told
know,
you.
and pronunciation, just like doing videos, is all about practice.
Yeah,
It's about practice, and
100%.
just like you get better doing videos, I hope, you get better with pronunciation the more English that you have. So some of your pronunciation problems will solve themselves. This is not a popular thing to say as an English teacher, but the more English you hear, the more English that you say, some of your pronunciation problems will solve themselves. Not always, but sometimes. They may not solve themselves as fast as you want them to, but they will, because our ears copy sound. Anyway, let's talk about what I'm gonna do tonight. Okay. Um, so excuse me. Before I do that, I want to hear from some of you about, how do you feel about pronunciation? Does it make you stressed? Does it make you nervous? I mean, are you confident? I mean, I guess you probably might not be here if you were really, really confident. Anybody have any comments on that? You don't have to talk if you don't want to. Okay, this is a webinar, but
Nervous every time.
yeah, terrible, terrible. Yeah, yeah, terrible, of course. Yeah, most people feel this way. I mean, I feel this way about my pronunciation in Portuguese. So I really understand it. Every time I say something in Portuguese, I'm like, did I say it right? Did I say it right? And I'm looking at people's faces just like you're doing. And your English, all of you, I'm sure, is better than my Portuguese. So pronunciation is something that is really, really frustrating for people. And a lot of people take English classes and they don't even talk about pronunciation in English classes. Like, I don't think we ever taught pronunciation at LLI. Like, it was just something that just repeat after me and repeat this word, but we never actually taught pronunciation. And I think that's a shame, because there's lots you can learn about how your mouth makes sounds. And so this has been an area that I've been really interested in for a long time. So tonight, what we're going to do is talk about these three things. I was guessing 7 until 8, but I've never done this before, so I don't really know how long it will go. So, but I'll try and keep to that time. So the first thing is, I wanted to talk about why Brazilians have problems with English pronunciation. At least this is not scientific. This is just my observation. And what are some specific problems that Brazilians have? And just a few of those problems and solutions. I can't do everything, but just to help you a little bit. Okay. So, for those of you who do not know me, I'm wearing the same shirt as the picture. My name is Sherry White, and I'm in London. I was just outside of London. For the Londoners, I live in Kamoka. Um, and this is my last career. I was in IT for 23 years, and I've been teaching English now for 15 years. I'm now teaching my own students. I'm also a professor at Fanshawe. And Barbara, you don't know this, but I just starting at Conestoga.
Wow, that's
Yeah, I know.
nice.
I know.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you. When I started my business, when I left LLI, it just turned into a business for Brazilians. I didn't plan that, but I had a lot of really wonderful students like Barbara and other students who were like, yay, rah, rah, Sherry's a great teacher, come to her. So it turned into a Brazilian business. And so now I have 6 teachers helping me, and we have about between, depends on the day, like the week, 30 to 50 students, and they're all Brazilian. They're all Brazilian, and most of them are in Canada. Actually, most of them are in London, but most of them are in Canada. Not all of them. There's a few in Brazil, but because of the Brazilian currency, which is so bad, as you know, most of them are in Canada. So I really love Brazilians. I really do. So let's talk about some.
But I was the first love.
Ah,
No,
yeah.
can I add something? I think one of the things that I love about Sherry is that about communication. Um, I think you see in the market, you have a lot of teachers, they want to teach you grammar, teach you this and that, and not really talk about the communication and the pronunciation, how you speak, how you can be understood by people. So I think one of the things that I love the most is that, and the way that you teach people how really to communicate. And I think that's the best part, that we don't see that in the market. You don't see
Oh,
that.
well, thank
So
you. For the rest of you, I didn't invite Barbara to plug me, okay? This
100%. She just
okay.
messaged me say, "Oh,
No,
here's the link if you want to
I
come
sent
in."
a note to a lot of my students saying I have room if you want to join in. This is not my purpose is not to say how great I am or to get you to take classes.
Yeah.
It's not my purpose, okay? I just have this knowledge and I thought I would share it with you. Okay, but
Yeah.
thank you, Barbara. That's lovely. Okay. Okay, so let's talk about why Brazilians have trouble with pronunciation, English pronunciation. So take a look at these sets of words. There's 3 sets of words, okay? And what I'm interested in hearing from you is, from a pronunciation perspective, what is the same about each of these groups? What is the same sound, for example, that is in each of these groups? So let's look at the first one. Okay, there is one sound that's in each of these groups. In each of these words? Does anybody know what it is? No, nobody wants to say. Okay, I'll say it. It's eh. Eh. Now, one of the things you have to know to understand tonight is that this symbol here is not the Portuguese and excuse my Portuguese. It's not the E sound. It is the sound. Eh. And the way it's not the E letter either. It's the sound. So we need a way to communicate what a word sounds like. And the only thing that you and I both understand is the Latin alphabet that you use in Portuguese, I use in English. But of course, the letters mean different things in different languages. So this is my representation of eh. Okay, and so you're going to see why it's so confusing in a minute. Look at the next one. The sound that is the same is f. What do you think the sound that is the same in this third group? Anybody have any ideas? Nobody wants to talk. Okay, that's fine. No problem. You don't have to. This is the j sound. The j sound. By the way, this sound is not even in English. It is not that we have no letter representation of the j sound. So we try and we put a ZH, but what does that mean? Nothing. It means je. And it's actually not even an English sound. It's a French sound, je. And it's only in a couple of words. Okay, so the reason that I'm telling you this is because many people learn to read English first, and they think that from reading English, they can learn how to speak. I mean, that's what happens in Portuguese. You see a letter, it makes a sound. You see it, and it's the same sound. You see the letter, it makes the same sound. So from reading, you can speak. But English is not like that at all. And most English fluent speakers don't even know this, by the way. Only teachers know this. They don't know this because we've grown up speaking, and we don't even realize that the spelling and the speaking don't match. The reason that is because English is a newer language compared to other languages, and it is borrowed from many other languages. Now, Portuguese borrows as well. In fact, in Portuguese, you have some English words that have made their way into Portuguese. And of course, there's Italian words in Portuguese, but English is just a mess. And the spelling does not teach you how to speak. So here, if you look at the S sound, it could be EA, it could be E. My gosh, this word could be even read or read. I mean, how confusing is that? It could be AI. All of these are, the spelling does not tell you what to say. In this, look at how the representation of the F. There's 3 different representation, the F, the letter F, the GH, the PH. Why is that? I have no idea. It's crazy, okay? And then here we have a sound that's not even in English, je, okay? And it's even represented in S or a G. So what I'm saying is that your frustration is shared with everybody who is learning English as a second, third, fourth language, okay? This is particularly difficult for academics. So many of you who have come to Canada are academics, and you learn to read first and, oh, look at the baby. Learn to read first and speak later. And so you don't know why you don't know how to say a word. And that's because you don't have a system. Your system that you learned in Portuguese doesn't work in English. Okay, so my message to you is, reading English does not equal speaking English. Okay, so we need another way to know how a word sounds. Okay, now there's good news and bad news about that, but that's why it's so confusing, is the spelling is not meant to teach you how to speak. Okay, these are some pronunciation problems that I deal with, that I teach every single day because I teach Brazilians only. And you can see here that they are the red, the slanted I, or the red letters with the slants on either side. Remember, those are those are sounds, not letters. But if I think you had trouble with that, I gave you some words, okay, because some symbols you wouldn't recognize. So these are some things that I've noticed that most Brazilians have a problem with. And I'm not teaching you all of these things, but I just noticed this. What do you think? Does anybody want to say what they think is the worst problem for Brazilians? Because I have my opinion, but any comments, or maybe a problem of yours?
ED.
ED.
Yeah.
ED. I would say ED is right up there in the gold medal of pronunciation problems. Yeah,
Mhm.
ED is a big problem. I spend, I'm sure, every day teaching ED. Okay. Anything else? Well, these are all really big problems, and some of them interfere with people understanding you, and some of them don't. And as Barbara said, our focus, my focus and my teacher's focus, because I train them, is to help you prioritize which sound problems interfere with communication, because not all pronunciation problems are equal in value. Some problems will confuse people, will confuse the listener, and some people won't even notice. So I often hear people say, oh, Canadians won't correct me when I say something wrong because they're too polite, unless they play hockey, right? They're too polite. But sometimes they don't even hear it, because we listeners use context, facial expressions, all sorts of communication cues to understand you, and they won't always notice that you're saying it incorrectly. So some pronunciation problems are worse than others, and you need somebody to be able to tell you, if you say that, people won't understand you. But if you say that, even though it's incorrect, it's okay. So there is a weight to some pronunciation problems, and they're not equal. Okay. So I'm going to concentrate on 3 of them tonight. So the first one is the CH. The CH, the 2 letters make one sound, okay? You have these letters in Portuguese. Okay, you have these letters in Portuguese. So why am I even talking about this? Okay, so I really need a volunteer for this. And if nobody volunteers, it's Barbara. Okay, so because I am not speaking Portuguese words. Okay, okay. Who wants to speak Portuguese for me? What are these 3 words?
Lanche,
Yeah,
chacinar,
yeah.
China.
Ah, okay. So what I heard was lanche. Lanche, sh, okay? Chacinar. And I'm terrible. I know. I sound French because I know more French than Portuguese. China, right? So the problem is not that you can't say the English CH, is that you don't recognize it. Okay? Because you have the CH sound in Portuguese, but you pronounce it differently. So your brain is programmed to say sh, and sh is a different sound in English. Okay? In English, if you see a ch, it usually makes a ch sound, not a sh sound, like in the word lunch, which sounds awfully lot like lanche, which is a different word and different meaning. So it's very confusing. Okay, lanche, lunch. Okay. Now, again, I'm not an expert in Portuguese, but I'm an expert in the problems, but I don't speak fluent Portuguese. So this is lunch, okay, like that, lunch. This is chair. There's another ch sound like that. And then, so most times when you see the CH, it makes a ch sound. Oh, sorry, but not always. Okay, not always. Oh, Barbara, you may think this is a picture of Dave, but it's not. Okay. Uh, uh,
Looks like.
I know, but he's much better looking than that. But
True.
even in English, if you see a CH, sometimes it's pronounced SH. So this word is pronounced in English, chef, like the same way you would pronounce it in Portuguese. Like, how confusing is that? Okay. So most words, like 98% of the words that you see with CH have a ch sound. Now, can you make the ch sound? Well, actually you can, because you have this sound in Portuguese. It's just not a Portuguese sound. You have the word ciao. I said it in Brazil all the time. Ciao. But you think of it as a TCH, ciao. And that's because this is Italian, not Portuguese. You have borrowed it from Italian. And so, but the good news is you know how to say the ch sound. You just have to equate it to seeing a CH, not a TCH. Okay. So when I'm teaching the ch sound, I often teach it like this. This was mostly for Spanish speakers, but and I think Stephanie, are you here?
Yes, I am.
Oh, Stephanie. Stephanie's one of our teachers. She was a teacher with me at LLI. She's one of the best teachers on the planet, by the way.
No way!
So
Hi.
Yay, Steph!
yeah, Barbara is here. Barbara Simas.
Oh, hi, Barbara. How are you?
Hey, good. I miss you.
Oh, it's so good to hear from you.
Okay, guys,
Yeah.
after the class.
Okay, after
Please
the class, go
message
ahead. I'm just
me.
here to listen.
Okay,
Get my WhatsApp.
okay. I'll send it to you, Steph. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So when I first started teaching, actually, it wasn't at LLI, it was at the Thames Valley Board. I had a lot of Spanish speakers. And so the Spanish speakers, which Stephanie is a Spanish speaker as well, have an opposite problem. They can say cha-cha, but they have trouble with sh. Okay. So I used to do this. So to make the sh sound, of course, you don't need this, but I'll tell you anyway. It's like saying shh, be quiet, right? Sherry, sheet, and it's very important you say sheet because otherwise it will sound like shit. Okay. And I didn't want the baby to hear that, or the babies, I should say. She's. Okay. So it's a sh sound. There's air coming out of your mouth, and it's at the front of your mouth. This sound, which is the one that is represented in chow, is the sound when it's a stronger sound. It's the sound when you sneeze, achoo. Okay, so this is cherry, not sherry. This is cheat, not sheet. And this is cheese, not she's. Okay, so very, very important that you can make these two different sounds because you can see the only difference in these words, and these are all English words, are the SH or CH sound. Okay, so that's when it becomes a problem. So that's the first problem with is the CH. Okay. Oh. Okay. Sorry. The next one is about these two words at the top. These two words. They look like they are pronounced the same. And I've had 3 of my students tell me that when they took English in Brazil, they were taught that the OO makes a specific sound, and it is the same sound in these words. And so when I taught these students that these are different sounds, they were really shocked. So I don't know if that happened to you, but I thought that was really interesting. These two words, which are very common, of course, are spelled exactly the same way, and they should rhyme. They should be the same vowel sound, but they are not. Okay, because again, spelling doesn't teach you how to speak. So look at these words, okay, and I'm going to say them. Book, took, woman, often said incorrectly, neighborhood, uh, 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 uh. Sometimes represented by the OO, sometimes like in woman represented by the O. It's crazy. Okay. And then these words, food, blue, shoe, move. This is the oo sound, the oo sound. Ooh, 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 ooh. Sometimes represented by OO, sometimes represented by UE, OE, or just an O. So again, spelling does not teach you how to speak. These are two different groups of words, okay? So are these the same sounds? No, absolutely not. These are not the same sounds. So how would you know that? I don't know. By listening to other people, but certainly not from reading. So the first, I'm going to give you a system to help you with that. The first one actually is, we don't even have a letter that represents the sound. This is the same sound that's in the word, the animal wolf. right? We don't even have a letter. So we have a symbol. It looks like a um accent, right? But it's not. This is the sound. Okay, the sound. Now, one way to help you with that is that there is a color system. Okay, now Stephanie knows about this. I don't know if Barbara, I've taught you this actually. There's a color system that was developed by one of my friends, and she wrote this great book called English is Stupid. I love the title because it's not students are not. English is stupid, students are not. And this is where I learned all of this. And in her book, she talked about, she explained a color system that can help you with pronunciation. I'm just going to introduce it a little bit. There are, well, between 16 and 20 vowel sounds in the English language, not 5. There's like between 16 and 20, it depends on how you count. And each of these sounds are also represented in a color that has the same sound, which is really interesting because when you learn English, you learn colors first and numbers. And so usually you can say the colors correctly. So if I can equal a color with a word, then you'll know how to say it. It's brilliant, actually. And I'll tell you more about that later. So this, you can see this weird color. This color is the color wood. Now, wood is not really a color, but if you imagine a type of a brown, that's in the wood, that is this color. And the sound that's in wood, either this one or this one, because there's 2 woods, they sound exactly the same and they have different spelling, is the same sound that's in these words. So if I say book is a wood word, you'll understand how to say it. So and sometimes when I'm teaching this, I teach this often, I say would first and then repeat the same sound. So for example, would book, would took, would woman, would neighborhood. Okay, so that's a way to learn that. And I just want to show you, I'm not selling these or anything like that. I just wanted to tell you this. Actually, the names of the books have changed. And if you want more information about the books, let me know at the, on WhatsApp or email or something. The lady, her name is Judy Thompson. She's Canadian. She's a teacher, ESL teacher. She was an ESL teacher in Toronto. She, along with a number of us from LLI, actually got together on a weekend and wrote this book. And this book is all the top the top 500 words in English, and they are divided by color, the 16 colors. So if I go to the wood color, I can find the wood color. I think I always have trouble finding the wood color. I will see words like would, should, book, those types of words. Okay, it's a great book, but it has a new name. Similarly, the second one here, can anybody guess what color that is? The second column. Here's a hint, it's in the list. Do you see the color blue, right? Yeah, it's blue. It's blue. Okay, so blue has the same sound that's in these words. So again, if I said blue food, you would understand it because you all know how to say blue. So blue, blue, blue shoe, blue move. Okay, so these are just an example of how you can change your pronunciation by color coding it, I guess you could say. Okay, so that's the solution for the second problem. The third problem, which some of you mentioned, is a big problem, which is that sometimes in English, some of the letters are silent. This is particularly a problem with the letter E. Okay. And so in Portuguese, you see a letter, it makes a sound. So in this example, café, right? There's actually 4 sounds, and you know what sounds to make, right? Because it's spelled with four letters. So I mean, it's not exactly that simple, but I mean, you see a letter, you know what sound to make. You see an E with an accent, you know what sound to make. But English isn't like that, okay? So we have many, many words that have silent letters. Most of those silent letters are E. And old English teachers, not the ones that are like, I mean, I know I'm old, but I mean, like, not the ones that are up on linguistics, will give you all these rules about, rules to pronunciation rules. I'm not going to go into because they don't work. They don't work. There's just so many exceptions that they shouldn't be a rule. So often you will see that these words, the E here, is actually, they're not pronounced. It's not pronounced. Okay. So I'm going to say these words, and I'm going to tell you how Portuguese people say these words. Okay. I mean, you know how you say it, but I'll tell you how I hear it. So this is make. This is office, not officey. Now, officey has been brought into the Portuguese language. Like people say, oh, I am working at my home officey. But nobody in Canada says officey. Nobody. It's office. Okay. So for these two, what you need to do is you need to shut your mouth. You need to stop at the last consonant sounds. Now, that's really hard for Portuguese speakers because in Portuguese, you don't end your words with a consonant sound. So it's hard. Okay. So make, office. Okay. So that's one way to do it. Now, somebody mentioned the ED. The problem is because you are used to saying every letter that you say walked. And if you say walked, people will not understand you unless you show you do this, right? Or there's enough context. Walked sounds weird to people who speak English. And there's many reasons for that. I won't get into that now, but you need to actually think like this E is silent. So it's walked. This E is silent. It's happened, not happened. Happened. Okay, it's happened. Now, it's not always silent with ED, and that's something that, you would have to learn about when is it silent and when is it not silent, okay? But generally, the answer to that, so the solution to that is to not say it. The problem is here, how do you know? How do you know when to say it and when not to say it? How do you know how a word is actually pronounced? How do you know? And so there's ways, okay? You can listen to, this is a fantastic thing. We now have dictionaries that have audio. It's fantastic. We don't have to learn the International Phonetic Alphabet anymore, which is stupid. You can go and look up, Google a word and find an online dictionary and press a button and it will say it for you. And it will say it in American English or British English, some of them. You can even do it in Google Translate. It's fantastic. Okay, so that's a great way to learn, but you have to know that you're saying it wrong. Okay, and that's part of the problem. And then it won't tell you how to make the sound. You need somebody professional for that, but it is a great way to help yourself. And there's some AI apps out there that are really helpful that some of my students are using now. You can ask a fluent English speaker. There's many of those around in Canada. Okay, so that's one thing you can do. Or of course you can, you can get help from a professional English teacher like Stephanie or myself, or there's many English teachers out there. You can take classes at Link or at Fanshawe or at Conestoga. There's lots of people that are around to help. Okay. Now, of course, I do this. Okay. I do this and Stephanie works with me. And we do this, but I mean, there's other ways to get help, especially if, you know, you can't afford it or you don't have time. There's lots of ways to get help. Okay. However, this is the only thing I'm going to say about my business. Okay. If you want more help with pronunciation, I actually have a course called Pronunciation for Brazilians. I've been teaching this course for 2 years. It's really, people really like it. So if you feel like it, this is an option for you. The next course, the next course starts next week. There's one during the day for those of you who are home with kids or on shift work. Oh, don't do that. And then there's one in the evening. Sometimes the one during the day doesn't go. I don't get enough people during the day. The evening one always goes. Okay. They're very small classes, like 3 to 6. I think when I first started, I had 12, but now I limit it to 3 to 6. Usually they're like 3 or 4. And it's about 75 minutes, Zoom, just like this. And for the people that register, I do a free pronunciation assessment, like what problems do you have? And I can do that either before or after. Okay, that's $300 for 10 weeks or 12 hours. If you want, because if you tell me that you were at this seminar, I'll give you a little discount, help a little bit. So 285. Usually when I started it, I had it at 350, so that's actually a really good price. But you just have to tell me. There is tax on that if you are in Canada, because welcome to our beautiful country with lots of taxes. If you're in Brazil or Lisbon, there's no taxes. Yay. And also I have other courses that are on my website. This is the website, slwels.com. There are other courses. These courses are all for people that can't afford private classes. The teachers and I decided that we would try and make something a little bit cheaper because things are so expensive right now. And so these are less expensive than private classes. Okay. And we do private classes mostly, but there are some alternatives. So if you are interested, go take a look. If you're not interested, there's no pressure, nothing. I just wanted to tell you. Okay. But if you know somebody who could benefit from these, tell them to go look at the website because they're really good courses. They're really good. And so just to say that I have a lot of students that were affected by the floods. I have some students that very close to me that live in I'm going to say it wrong, Porto Alegre. Did I say that right, Barbara? Porto Alegre? Yeah? Oh, okay.
Porto Alegre.
Alegre, sorry, Porto Alegre. And so Barbara actually is the one who gave me the contact for this particular charity, because this is who you gave the garage sale stuff to, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So I've
Exactly.
contacted them, and I mean, it's not a lot of money because we didn't get a ton of registrations for tonight, but I think it's like $80. So, and I'm doubling it.
It's
Okay.
yeah. It's
Oh,
4
yeah.
times in Brazil, so which is good.
Yeah. So I'm gonna take the money that you spent, the $10, and I'm gonna double it and send it to them. Okay, so that's all I have. So look at 7:49. That's pretty good. Does anybody have any questions for me? This is your chance to unmute yourself and ask me, or if you don't want to, or you don't want to speak, then have a wonderful evening and thank you for coming. Okay? You can just leave if you want. Okay? No problem. But I'll just stay on for anybody who has a question. I have all these people texting me. Any questions? Eliana, do you have a question?
I have a one word. I have a lot difficult It's
Sure.
wold, wold,
Yeah,
wold.
Yeah,
Yes,
we
this
do
is,
that. We do that in the course, actually, that word. We do that in the
yeah,
course because it's not just your problem. And I'll
yeah.
tell you, I'll give you a solution, okay? So just the quickest solution, not to tell you
Uh-huh.
why it's a problem, but the quickest solution and that I have, I've thought about this a lot. Let me just get my annotation here. Is to divide it. This is the word, right? Yeah.
Mhm.
World, right? Easy
World.
for me to say. Very, very hard because of the R. First of all, the R is an American R, not a Portuguese R, and the L. And the R and the L are very, very similar sounds. So it's really hard to have those together, especially without a vowel in the middle, because that's Portuguese goes consonant, vowel, consonant, vowel. So the way that I tell people to do this, oh, and the W is also a problem for me. So there's all sorts of problems there. What I would suggest is you divide it into 2 syllables like this and say world, world. Now this is hard too,
World.
but it's a little bit
Mhm.
easier than saying world, right? So
Yes.
world. And then just keep saying world like it's 2 syllables, 2 claps. World, world, until you can make it into one. World. Okay? Does that help?
Yes,
Good.
yes, thank you.
Good. Does anybody have, oh, there's all these chat messages that I didn't look at. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh, okay. I see it. Okay, good. Nothing I missed. Does anybody else have any questions they want me to stay on for? Otherwise, I'll close down the session. You can always find me on WhatsApp or on Instagram. I mean, many of you watch my videos. You can contact me there or contact me there, and then I'll tell you my WhatsApp. So there's different ways to contact me if you have any questions about anything. This is my side business. My main business is at the colleges. So I'm always available on WhatsApp because, as Barbara said, I'm half Brazilian now, that I use WhatsApp all the time. All right. Anything else? No? Okay. Well, then that's it for me. Thank you for coming tonight. I hope it was a valuable use of your time. And you can know that your $10 is going back to Brazil. I'm not keeping anything. Okay? All right. Have a great night and obrigado.
Thank you, Sherry.
Welcome. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.